This is my husband, ex. This is my boyfriend, current. What is that situation?
You don't even want to do it in the apartment. You actually go to the gym to do number two because you don't want to do it in the house.
We just look at each other and we're like, so I'm dating his ex-wife, and people just like jaws drop to the ground.
Yeah. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of No Business Being a Castano. I'm Amy Castano. This is Jono Castano, my current husband, ex-husband situation. And also we are joined today with my boyfriend, Aaron.
Yes, we are. Thank you for having me.
Think about that for a minute. This is my husband, ex. This is my boyfriend, current. What is that situation in terms of how does that work?
What do we call it? First, what do we call it?
Throuple? Nah.
Throuple?
No, actually, I don't know. What do you call it? I'm just trying. That's what comes up like as a joke, you know.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know what would you call it? Because I guess like in this day and age, I think like those type of situations, like not many people can kind of first of all emotionally be capable to enter something like that, because obviously when you met Amy, you obviously knew about me.
Okay, let's roll it back a little bit. Let's rewind. Let's rewind. So I was dating Aaron. Well, actually, we were just seeing each other.
We were virtually seeing
each other because we met on Instagram and I slid into your DMs. But the reason being was because you were watching my stories and you didn't follow me. So I was like, who is this guy watching my stories and he doesn't follow me?
Firstly, what's the issue with just watching? Like, I think it's a polite thing to do because from the way that I looked at it, I was like, hold on. If I just slide straight into your DMs, you're just going to think, oh, he's just another guy who wants to get with me and that's it. I looked at it and I took a different approach. I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a little bit more like a gentleman. And I'm just going to watch your stories and I'm going to strategically like pics on your feed.
So none of my thirst traps you didn't like. I think one of my thirst traps you liked.
Yeah, because I can't think.
And then you liked all the like happy brandy stuff.
This is too funny here.
See, it's tactical.
Wow.
It's tactical. I'm a football player. I play the game. I play the board.
So that was that. You came back to Sydney. We obviously met at the airport. That was our first meeting at the airport, Jono. Have I told you this story? Slightly. You don't really listen to me. I might have been
listening and then I zoned out.
Yeah.
So firstly, at the airport when I arrived, she rocked up at the wrong terminal. So I rocked up at Terminal A or Terminal 1 and Amy was at Terminal 2 or Terminal B. And it was kind of the time, it was post-COVID, but you had to have a mask on to enter into the terminal.
And I didn't want to ruin my makeup. So I stayed outside of the terminal and was like, I'll meet you there.
But I had the roller, I had all my luggage, my suitcase, because I was moving back home. And like I said, I got out at Terminal A and she was standing at Terminal B. So when I walked out, she wasn't actually there. So I thought I was getting catfished. I wasn't freaking out, but I was like, hold on a second. Like I stood there still for like 2 or 3 seconds and I'm like, shit, maybe I've been stood up here. And then because I'd just come back into the country after being away for 12 months, I didn't have phone reception. And I was freaking out as well. So I was trying to get on the Wi-Fi and it wasn't working. Eventually got onto the Wi-Fi, got into contact with Amy and she's like, I'm here. And I was like, so am I. Like I'm right in front of where everybody is. And she wasn't there. So again, I thought I was getting catfished. And then she must have taken a breath and was like, okay, well, where exactly are you? And I'm like, okay, I'm at Terminal 1 or Terminal A.
That's
then
when
she
finally met each
Terminal
other.
B.
It was meant to be.
Like kiss,
wait a second. It was meant to be.
I got stood up though.
Wait a second. It was meant to be that Hollywood moment where you like have been chatting to this guy for so long, and then we finally meet, and it's meant to be like that romantical kiss. That didn't happen.
That's how I envisioned it.
That's how you envisioned it. That's how I envisioned it. But I went in for the hug, and it was awkward, and we were like, okay, but then. We hugged for like 10 minutes.
So I went in for a kiss and I got screened. I got stood up.
Wow.
So I also thought, fuck, did I get friend zoned? Did I waste the last 2 months like chatting, giving up my time to get screened when I went in for a kiss? And I was like, fuck. But then obviously, as Amy said, there was the hug and you could feel that the connection was there.
It was nice.
It was.
So that obviously developed. And then, Jono,
Yeah.
what were you doing? How
I-
did you find out about Aaron?
How did I find out about Aaron? I went through your comments or went through your likes or something? I don't know.
Something. You went through something on Instagram.
Because I'm a
He
little bit,
clicked-
a little bit crazy like that.
Yeah,
you know?
you're a psycho.
According to ChatGPT,
Yep.
7 out of 10.
Yep, you are. So you stalked Aaron, and then you saw that Aaron posted my view.
Yes.
You saw that,
That's what
and
it
you go,
was.
Amy, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I remember. I think I blew up. Eh?
You blew up and you blocked me, and then
Yeah.
that was it.
I didn't know about that as well.
Yeah, no,
I had no
He
idea.
had no
Like,
idea.
I wasn't even thinking. I was just, this is a beautiful view. I'm obviously gonna. I thought nothing of it.
man.
And then I was like, oh shit, maybe
Yeah.
I shouldn't have done that
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we obviously hadn't met,
Mm.
hadn't even had a conversation yet.
So talking about you guys having your meeting and how your relationship has developed now, it's definitely something that most people can't get their head around.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I feel like I'm the third wheel in your relationship.
Feels like that sometimes, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
because
does. That's the relationship that
But-
we've obviously grown.
But yeah, like, you know, I think I was even driving here today and someone, like, I explained the situation to someone and they're like, well, that's very interesting and not very common. So it's definitely like such a weird thing, you know?
yeah, it's strange because a lot of people use their past experiences or breakups in their relationships and take that or think that others react that certain way. And don't get me wrong, us when we were first breaking up, that was
Mm.
wild.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
It was pretty bad. So obviously we went and moved on from all of that, and now you gained a best friend.
Yeah, exactly. Someone
And
like-
also kept your best friend.
That's right. Yeah,
which
that's very
is-
true. And like I tell you guys every day how much you mean to me, you know. And obviously we've created that much of a friendship that you guys like are the, you know, not many people out there that are like you both, where you kind of, you know, check up all the time. And I think that's super important. And it's crazy what this has actually created, you know. And I guess like for you, Aaron, like, you know, coming into the relationship, like seeing Amy, like, was there anything that bothered you? Obviously, me being around, and because, you know, there's many people out there that, say for example, like I remember I was seeing someone, and then they knew that I was hanging out with Amy, and then they weren't happy with that, and then obviously for me personally, I just got rid of them.
Yep.
But then I ended up finding out she was an escort. But anyways, that's a different talk about that one. But
Yeah.
anyways, you know, hey man, we've been truthful on this podcast.
I
anyway.
do remember that.
Do you know? You
I
do
remember, yeah, I
that,
do
right?
remember that one.
You know,
Yeah.
but yeah, anyways,
No, so for me, my perspective of honestly at the start, I didn't really think much of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like obviously you guys have history. I also have history. Every person in the world has history. And I just thought of it as the fact of, okay, you guys have history, but you're still a part of each other's lives. So for me, I felt comfortable enough to come into both of your environments. I didn't overthink it. I didn't think, oh, these guys still have history, or they might still potentially have chemistry or untouched things going on, because obviously I knew the story that the two of you were also involved in the business. And Amy was very clear and very vocal when we first started communicating that you are and always will be such a big part in her life. And she asked me straight out, she goes, are you okay with that? And
So let's go to that moment. It was on Zoom. No, not Zoom, FaceTime. And I was like, okay, I need to tell you something. I felt like it was the time to tell him. And I go, so I need to tell you something. And he was like, yep, okay. And I was like, I'm married.
is that
I
how you
had
said
no
it?
idea.
That's how I
had
said
no
it.
idea.
Really?
That is how I
is
said
that
it.
how you said
That's
it?
how I said it.
Straight out.
Wow.
And I was
There
like,
was no like lead up. There
No.
was no build up. It was just hammer just being dropped
That's savage, Amy. Wow.
to the point, brother.
That's like insane.
You should know.
Wow.
and yeah, I'm to the point. So I just like dropped that bombshell on you because I wanted to see your reaction. Your reaction was, okay, cool. So what does that mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, yeah, this is the meaning, and this is how the current relationship is, and this is how our dynamic is. And you took that with complete and utter like just acceptance. And I was like, wow, okay, this guy actually accepts where I'm at, the fact that I told him, and is okay with it. So anyone else that I had dealt with in the past was a little, I would always, like when I say that line to people, I would gauge what their reaction was.
For sure.
I would always gauge, because an initial reaction is definitely how you would respond, right?
Yeah, but for me, it was more so the fact of I was obviously creating a relationship with you and a connection with you at that time. So you could have told me even the world was burning down, or you could have told me any.
Is that because you're trying to be a nice guy to her, or you're just typically a nice guy?
No,
because people would say that as like sucking up.
No, look, I took it as open arms. I immediately thought, imagine if I had a big story like that I had to tell a female, and how they would react. And I wouldn't want to continually get relationships or potential connections breaking down based on my past. So sure, you can say I'm a good guy or not, but that's not the point. I guess it's just my morals and the way I was raised, that you don't judge a book by its cover. And I also had no involvement previously in Amy's years on this planet or your years on this planet. And so I can't involve myself in that situation. So it's kind of like I either accept the situation or I don't. And if I accept it, then it can obviously at the time potentially develop into something, which it clearly has. But then if I don't, or I have too many issues, then the potential is there to obviously lose her and lose the connection. So I opened it with open arms. I also didn't know what to expect. I didn't know obviously how much of an involvement you had or how connected you guys were, but for me that was fine, because I would learn that along the way. And then also I didn't think immediately, I was like, shit, is Jono gonna like me? Are we gonna get along? I was just like, you know what, we'll make it work. The same way that I thought about Amy and I being together, we'll make it work, I thought the exact same coming into, I guess, your world, your gym, your everything. I was like, you know what, we'll make it work. But I think also that comes from my lifestyle. I've lived abroad for so long, and I'm used to meeting new people, and I'm used to being around people that I'm not comfortable with, or that don't speak the same language or anything like that. So for me, coming into your life and also Amy's, it was just another example of that. So for me, it was comfortable. I didn't overthink it. I wasn't worried. I just let it flow, and it obviously has worked out pretty decent.
So when that initial meeting happened, what was that like? Where was that?
I'm pretty sure was it here at the gym?
Pretty sure it was here.
I'm pretty sure.
And I'm pretty sure it was here, and you were training a client.
Yeah.
And I came over and introduced
I'm
myself.
glad you remember that by a split image. Very good.
Oh, your first meeting.
It was love at first sight, brother. We knew
but
straight away.
Yeah, I do remember you. Yeah, it was at the gym for sure. And then, but once again, hey, I stalked his page a few times.
But I think that was an icebreaker as
you
well.
Were so psycho.
Because you were in a comfortable position, as in your gym.
This is my home. You know,
this is your second home. You were training a client at the time, so I think that
you're
was
the one coming into the
but it was a perfect way to meet. Like, it's not like we were planning to meet up, have a coffee, and like speak. It was in a comfortable place. You felt comfortable, and it was a quick exchange.
But I think I was also, like, for me personally, like, I was in a good stage in my life where I was like, you know what, I had kind of, you know, past that anger and past that jealousy side of things. So I was in a very good stage. And I think if I wasn't, that probably might have been different. Because I remember, you know, when I brought Simone, which obviously, you know, the mother of my daughter, when I brought her into the gym, I remember Amy you were pretty upset, and it wasn't the same reaction. And
I wasn't upset.
There was a few other people that had come into the gym that you knew that I was kind of whatever talking to. Let's call it talking to. And
well, I wasn't upset.
And then you
I was
got
just
pissed off. And
no, I wasn't pissed off actually.
No,
that's maybe your perception or your like interpretation. Yeah, so I think more so. When I brought Aaron in, like, I never brought any other guys in, right? When I brought Aaron in, I obviously let you know. With you're very like a
free spirit.
You are a free spirit.
Open book.
You do things very like openly and like
Yeah, I think
you
I
don't
just,
think
I
sometimes.
don't think sometimes,
No.
and I think that just comes from like the way I've always done things, and
Yeah, and
I
I
just
think
like see it and I do it, see it, do it.
with us in a business, I have the logic, you have the doing. And that works incredibly well because he'll be like, oh, we're going to do this. And I'm like, wait a second. How is this going to work? And then when it does work, I'm like, okay, thank you for that push, because you are the one that pushes me into that uncomfortable space of like, I need to get out of my comfort zone and do things, which works really well. In a personal perspective, sometimes people don't react the same way that I do in a business. So they don't take you just doing whatever it is or without thinking. They think that it comes off differently. And I guess in that moment, when you just brought someone in without letting me know that, okay, this person is coming in, I'm seeing her, whatever, that sometimes can come off like you don't give a fuck, right? But you do give a fuck.
Of course I do. Yeah.
Of course you do. But sometimes you don't think. And maybe you're too busy.
Yeah, I'm just got so much on
you're
my
too
mind that I'm
busy.
just like,
You don't think. Even the other day, I forgot to text my mum about something and she got the shits. But you just forget. Things, like life goes on. If I don't have a list of things that I'm doing every single day, I forget. And as you know, you will ask me to do something and you know that if I don't write it down, it's not being done.
I start to write it down for you now.
Yes.
I'm a brain bro now.
Couple goals, that one.
Yeah.
Couple
Couple goals.
That's cute, guys.
It is.
Wow.
Calendar invites and all.
With that, in saying that, like, you obviously are back in Sydney. You're on off season right now. I think it would be interesting to know what your perspective is when you are in off season. You obviously just come in, you take over, you do things, you do everything for me. And then as soon as you leave, it's just like nothing.
Are you having a dig at him? No?
No,
I'm working that out as well.
because
I'm also strategically working out how I'm going to answer this.
Wow.
Because
I'm
if I
saying-
don't
Like
answer it right,
No, I'm saying like as a professional footballer, when you go away, you're all in there. Okay? Not that you obviously have your time with me as a relationship.
Feel some heat coming on, like I could feel,
But when you're back
is
here,
great.
it's all, you do everything. How do you cope with not doing anything in the sense of you're on off season? You just take on everything here.
I think it's a full 360 in the sense of when I'm overseas, when I'm away, I have a structure. So somebody else is doing everything for me. They're telling me when I have to go train. They're telling me when I should eat. They're telling me when I've got media obligations. They're telling me all these things. So I kind of don't have the freedom or the luxury to be able to, I guess, schedule my days or schedule what I want to do. And then coming back here to Sydney, it's the complete opposite.
You have nothing to do besides be here.
Well, nobody's telling me what to do.
Yeah.
Does that upset you or no?
I don't have a schedule.
Does that upset me?
Yeah.
When he's in off season?
Yeah, like, when he's got nothing to do, or does that?
No, because he makes do. He does everything.
And that's why I take the initiative here, is because it is polar opposites. Because I don't have the luxury or the advantage of doing that when I'm overseas, when I'm on season, because I'm extremely busy, as let's say you guys are here. When I come back home, I've got that freedom, and I actually want to do things. I want to be busy. I want to help my people. I want to, fill my day out, even if that is as simple as lightening your load in the mornings, getting ready. So like making coffee for you, making your shake for the day, etc., etc.
Writing love notes.
That'll do as well. Writing love notes, whatever
Jono
it is.
learned a little
I
bit
need
from
to
that,
find
didn't he?
myself an Aaron, I reckon.
You know how many people say that, bro?
Version, though.
You know how many people say that?
In a female version.
You can take him. You can borrow him for a few nights if you like.
Well, he is. Tomorrow. He's
He's
borrowing me tomorrow.
Actually,
tomorrow,
though,
so.
he's borrowing Aaron.
And John, I've got a full schedule written out for us. Don't worry. I've invited you to a few calendar invites as well, so you don't have to think for the next few days.
I'm not looking forward to that trip together.
No, it'll be good. It'll be good. But no, as I was saying, that's why I think I like to take charge and take control, is because when I'm not doing something or when I'm not filling my days out, it's very daunting mentally for an athlete to not have anything to do, because usually we're not like that. We're always thinking about our next match or our next training session or the performance that we put in for our training sessions, etc., etc. But when I'm home, you don't really have too much to think about. And mentally, that's a massive switch for an athlete to go from always thinking, always processing, always trying to understand things to absolutely nothing at all. And I struggle with that in terms of I struggle with doing nothing. And there you go. You see it. You see it raw and unedited.
Even sometimes Jono will ask me, is Weldy okay?
Yeah.
Mind you guys, Jono calls Aaron Weldy because he's his world. That's why.
No, he's got a tattoo of the world.
No, he doesn't.
Doesn't
Where?
he?
Where's
I
your
swear,
world?
no, yeah.
No,
Are
a
you
little
guys going to get
smiley
matching
face.
tattoos as well?
No. That's what we said.
That's right.
No, we said we were going to get world tattoos.
But anyway,
We did.
Jono does ask me sometimes, he's like, is Weldy okay? He's genuinely concerned because he sees your energy drop and you're such a like overly like happy and energetic guy. So then to see that flip sometimes, it is a little bit like, is he okay? Did that, like, have I done anything? Is everything okay with us? So, yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of want to cut in there. Like, I think what I really, really love about like your relationship between you two is like, and I think you guys like, you know, really kind of inspire so many individuals out there to have this type of relationship. Like, you know, you've got like, you know, you support each other for like in so many different ways. Like the support I see from Aaron to Amy versus Amy to, you know, Aaron is like exceptional. And like you guys create, like, I don't know, I look at you, like I feel like, not like jealous in a bad way, but I feel like, you know what, like kind of like obviously wish I have something like that in the future, you know, because yeah, it's great to see, you know, because that's kind of the goal, that's everyone's goals, you know, someone that really kind of cares and is pushing you to be better and better each day. And I think that's what I really respect about your relationship. And, you know, and Aaron is such an amazing person, such an amazing guy. And I think, you know, if you weren't, I definitely would, you know, I would have kind of, you know.
You would have let me know.
I would let Amy know. And so yeah, I really, really respect both of your relationship. And I think such like relationship goals and what we should, as us single guys, what we should strive to look for.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate that. That's very kind words. So we got your ticket of approval. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Finally.
Yeah.
Oh, finally.
When he's getting married so we can get divorced. is my question.
That's what I came on here today.
So
I was going to ask publicly.
Is this the public?
This is the public.
So what can I like? I'm sure a lot of people are thinking this at home. So when you get married to Amy, does that mean Amy would be Amy Evans, or is she going to keep Amy Castano?
A lot of people ask this question.
I've actually been asked this before, and like I actually want to know.
Okay.
I always said to Aaron, I'm AMC.
We've talked about it.
I'm
Have you
AMC.
ever?
We've talked about it many times. Yeah, no, we have.
Because someone asked me that, like literally, I get asked this
But
so
I
many
also
times.
don't give a
Because
fuck
why
what
you
people
keep
think,
Castano,
to be
you know?
honest.
I know you don't care. I know. I feel like we're kind of, you know, we stay in LA, and I think that's an important thing. But why our dynamic works really well too. We don't get involved in other people's business. People love to get in our business. Don't know why. But
so that question, Amy Evans, it sounds
Australian,
different. It sounds.
I like it. I think it sounds hot. Amy Evans,
Amy Evans,
starring on.
No, I love the AMC.
You love the AMC.
Yeah, but that's
it's
brand.
not about what
that's
it,
my brand.
know.
I'm AMC. I'm Amy Castano. That's my
What
brand.
About,
Maybe legally I can be Amy Castano Evans. Ace. That's my new. Instead of AMC, I'm Ace. Amy Castano Evans.
Yeah, there you go.
Works.
Drop.
Boom. Ace family.
You onto something? She's onto something. We hadn't discussed that. That was just
off the bat
to my mind.
Wow.
We do something called high, low, Castano.
I think we'll work on it. We'll work on it.
We need to brand that, I think.
Anyways, do you want to explain what it is, Amy?
High is your high of the week. Low is your low of the week.
Yep.
Castano, surprise, funny, random that happened to you this week.
Okay.
So
can you we'll start with whatever you want.
Yeah, you could start low, high.
We're starting with the low.
You're starting with the low?
You always got to start low.
Okay.
Oof, on the spot. Okay. My low of the week.
Just look at my watch.
Take
Come on,
your
come on,
time.
mate.
It's
Just
all
take your
good.
time.
That's a nice watch, bro.
Just take your time.
That's
That
Go
is
on.
a nice watch. What is
The
that,
point-
Jono?
The point of it is to, like, you know, whatever comes to your mind.
Oh,
Jono,
okay.
what-
So I snap the fingers and we're
That's
on.
it.
Jono, what watch is that?
It's a Zenith watch, beautiful new piece. Love
Ooh.
them. Yep.
So my low of the week, look, I'd have to probably say my time management of myself personally. I haven't really, I guess, looked after myself as much as I should this week. I prioritized everything else, and I've kind of put myself and even, let's say, our relationship, our personal time on the back foot, because there's other things going on that I obviously want to put a lot of focus on, and it's just so I'd like to improve that next week.
And how
move
we
forward.
improving that today? We're going to go on date night tonight.
Cute.
We are.
Cute.
Yeah.
So cute.
So you got to start
But
somewhere.
yeah, I feel like, because if that keeps happening, to be honest, like,
Mm.
you know, that's definitely how relationships fail.
100%.
Because I'm a expertise. at
Yeah,
that.
you're a relationship expert. The way you're sitting as well.
I'm a relationship expert. I was actually going to write a book on how to not maintain a relationship.
How to not.
Yeah.
That would be amazing for you.
No, all right. So that was good. And what about your high? What are your high moments?
My high look would have to be my parents came up from Canberra. So I'm a Canberra boy, but obviously living in Sydney now, and
You're
I
a
don't
Sydney boy now.
I'm a Sydney boy now.
We've claimed you.
Okay, I've moved on. And I don't get to see them often because obviously I'm overseas or
Does
I'm
that
here.
bother you?
It used to a lot because I was a very big family person growing up. But I've learned to manage it because I've been, it's not forced away because I've made the choice to be away, but because I've gone for so many years missing all the occasions, everything, like it just became normal.
Of course.
But now that I'm obviously back in the country, I still don't get to see them enough. So for them to make the
Why
effort
is
to
that?
come up,
Why do you think? You know what I mean?
busy schedules. And again, like I touched on with my low, I'm not prioritizing myself because they're obviously a part of me. So I'm not prioritizing them enough to go and see them. So it's something I've got to work on.
Because I think obviously this is a big thing. Obviously, when I see you guys, I'm like, you know, you're both in Sydney, and family is a big thing. You know, and I don't want to say anything like bad or whatever, but if someone does get sick and they've only got a week, 2 weeks to live, I'm sure, you know, you'd want to definitely change those answers, you know, because I feel like family is big, and I feel like sharing those moments is super important.
Absolutely, I
Couldn't
agree.
agree more.
What's your Castano?
I'm putting you under the bus here,
You
bro.
put in your
Oh, no.
Midweek.
oh,
You know what it is? Don't say it. Do you know what it is?
well,
Yeah or no?
I do not. I think there's been so many funny moments this week that I'm like, I feel like my life could actually be like a TV show.
It
the
is.
way it's
It
run
is.
at the moment.
It is. Anyway, the three of us, we left here. We went to go drop you in the city. Amy was driving. I was in the passenger seat. And you know when you have that awkward silence?
yeah,
Because we're
yeah.
talking. Then it was just an
I've seen-
awkward silence at a red light. You're on your phone. And next minute we just hear...
Love.
And Amy and I just
Love.
look at each other. Didn't say anything. Didn't react.
But I think that's just being comfortable. Like when I'm
100%.
really,
he loves
that's
us
like
so
my
much.
that's as
you
kind of
know.
like whenever I'm comfortable with someone, and in a relationship too. I don't know how people are with their partners or whatever, you know. But I just kind of become really comfortable. And
Aaron
maybe-
and I have never done that in
I
front of
think
each other.
like I heard you guys
Ever.
haven't even like been in the same bathroom when she's doing number 2 and that
Hell
type
no.
of thing. So I
Fuck
wouldn't
would I
care.
want to be in the
but see
bathroom when
what
she's
I'm.
doing a shit for?
But see what I mean? I wouldn't care. Like I wouldn't care. Like you know that.
No,
I've been in the
thanks.
bathroom when you've been taking a shit.
Yeah, I know, but that's
But
what
I
I'm
haven't
saying.
been when Amy's been in the
But what I'm trying, like, I just don't get it. I mean, you know. But
But
anyway,
I just like to keep that mystery a mystery.
right?
I
Because
think-
I remember like you even like you don't like you when she like you don't even want to do it in an apartment. You actually go to the
No,
your
I did.
apartment's gym to do number 2 because you
Yeah.
don't want to do it in the house.
Yeah, well,
That was me.
for me,
that was
that's
Amy at the
that's
start.
extreme. You know what I mean? That's a bit like out like you know.
Look, I want to keep that mystery. I want to look, you know, I shoot rainbows and butterflies.
Is it?
That's the image that I have in my head.
Is it? Well, I would say that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
That was funny, and it definitely you know.
It just shows you love us and you're comfortable with us. And I appreciate that's your way of showing us. But you just slow down on the protein because
fuck,
it
I've been
really
smashing the
She
protein.
nearly died, man.
As
I
you
nearly
can-
died.
We nearly lost it.
Yeah.
We nearly lost it.
I think even Ollie was like,
Yeah. Ollie was like, what is that?
Ollie
She was
was
driving
like
with her head out
KO'd.
the window.
Yeah.
Ollie was KO'd. What about your one? I'm keen to know. Obviously, you've both had massive weeks, and what about yourself, Amy? What's been your low, high, and
I'm going to start with my low. I haven't been sleeping well.
what sleep insomnia?
No.
Insomnia.
I don't sleep much,
You
to be
don't,
honest.
eh? That's
Some people text me and I'll reply at 2 a.m. Some people text me and I reply at 9 p.m. Some people text me at 4 a.m. and I'm replying at 4 a.m. So they're like, do you sleep? I'm like, no.
Why don't you take
Sometimes
like those
I don't.
supplements?
I don't
Magnesium
want
or-
to take something to
Why?
slow me down because I'm always go, go, go.
Yeah.
I just catch up when I catch up. It is what
Oh,
it
that
is.
sounds terrible.
Well,
You're
look,
giving a bad message out there to everyone.
I just don't sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just my issue.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes I have issues falling asleep. Sometimes I have issues staying asleep.
Because in a PT perspective, it's, sleep is recovery.
Absolutely, and I
And
get
if you're
that
not
it's
recovering,
important.
that's gonna, it's gonna play with your hormones a lot.
Hmm.
So you definitely need to
That's why I've got the big hormones
Shit.
going on.
That's why I cop a
settle
lot
down,
of it
settle
as well.
down, bull. Settle down. What about your high? What about your
My
high?
high
moment?
of the week. I actually got some incredible news this morning, which you two know about,
Yeah,
which I can't share, but that's my high.
Yeah.
Jono might share it.
No,
Jono
I
might
don't want to
share it.
share, but I think, for us, we do so many things in the
We do.
background where we kind of like, we also want to not just be known as a gym, but we also kind of want to have like different stuff outside of the
that's
gym
the
that
thing,
keep
and
us
I think
busy.
a lot of people don't know, which obviously we show a lot of our lives online, but there are some things that we like to keep to ourselves, and that's totally fine. A lot of people don't know, what we do in the background and why we're so busy and why we're so tired and what we're working on. But, this is obviously what we have built. We've also built our personal brands.
Yeah.
There's things that we are working on, and like even this podcast, for example, there's a lot of time and effort that goes in to a lot of things that we do, and we're always constantly trying to grow. And yeah, I got some incredible news this morning, and that was my high.
Amazing. What about your
My Castano.
No.
My Castano.
Bro, what time is it?
I know. You got sharp.
Okay. I had to, and you can find this footage on our YouTube channel. I had to unplug Jono's car because he has an electric car.
Oh, yeah.
You had no idea where she was going.
I was like,
did you?
what? You had to unplug my car? Like, what? Were you tracking me or something?
No, I had to unplug it,
Yeah,
and I
what
had
do
to
you
take the
mean?
tracker out of it as well.
Yeah.
And then I just couldn't get the app to work.
And
And that is annoying when that happens.
it's for me, I find it pretty easy. I find
Oh, that's great for you.
You can go do it.
Yeah,
then.
you can go do it.
there's a manual.
Stop
for-
sending me to unplug your car. But anyway, it wasn't working,
Okay.
and then I just figured out that
Yeah.
I needed to unplug it and press a button, and that was my random moment. What
Nice.
about yours, Jono? High, low, Castano.
I think funny moment would I reckon it was before we started this, to be honest. I typed in ChatGPT on what did I write?
So this is your Castano. You're
No,
starting
this is
off with
I'm
the
starting
Castano.
with Castano. Examples on why not to date Amy Castano. This is
He's
what
too far in.
this
You're not
is-
going to convince him
and thi-
otherwise.
I know, but literally, if a guy would actually read this, I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't.
You
date,
wouldn't?
I wouldn't date. I wouldn't date the girl.
Well, why don't you do this for all?
You know what I mean?
Do this for all the
everyone.
girls. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, perfect.
Anyways, different life goals. Number 1. Number 2, lifestyle differences. Number 3, public
She's
spotlight.
expensive.
Tick.
Number 4, high expectations. Yes.
Very
Tick.
high.
And
Tick,
5,
tick, tick.
past baggage. There
That's
you go.
you.
So I think
That's
I
you,
thought
bro.
that was funny and interesting that ChatGPT could actually
Already knew.
identify exactly what. Do you know what I mean? Like,
It's ChatGPT.
yeah,
as
I know,
well.
but how good is that?
That's so good.
For me, high moment of the week, I think obviously just having my own personal space back.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
been
How's
on.
that been?
Yeah, it's been great. So obviously, having my own space and time, coming home to my own thing, my own place, my own house. I've got it, decorated how I want.
Mhm.
You know, it's looking great.
And
I feel,
did you style that yourself?
Yeah, I got. Didn't you know I got a major in design? Got a major in design. I'm like the funniest guy. If you tell me to do yoga or whatever, I put my hand up and just
I
say that
know.
I'm an expert. But yeah, I'd say that's my high. In terms of low, to be honest, low. I think just it probably just what Aaron, like similar to Aaron. I think for me, like because I do obviously spend a lot of time here as well. Sometimes it gets a little bit repetitive. Like the PT thing, it's like you do 16 clients and then it's such similar conversations. How are you? What are you doing? What are you doing on the weekend? Da da da, and it becomes a lot of like a cycle. And I think for me, that kind of plays around in my head sometimes. And because I've been doing it for 16 years now, 15, 16 years. So it's kind of, it becomes very repetitive.
Mm.
And not
How
good.
can you change that though?
Do less clients, charge more. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to work out now. And it can't, it's one of those things that just comes every week. But,
Yeah. That's like that's okay though. Like a part of what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's
It's
a
good to
part
be in
of it.
demand. Like it is good.
Exactly.
It's good to ride the wave because I know that obviously,
It's not going to last
it's
forever.
not going to last forever.
No.
I'm not going to be looking this young forever. And
But also you think about, put yourself in the perspective of someone who might be struggling to get even a client.
I know.
Sometimes you got to think of that perspective and be like, wow, like
It's
it's your
imposter
perspective.
syndrome.
Yeah, it's your perspective though.
Yeah.
It's your perspective on how you look at something and take that as a positive perspective or a negative. And if you look at it as a positive, you are very in demand. People love training with you. People love you as a person. It is personal training at the end of the day.
No, that's our new slogan, that one.
It is personal training at the end of the day.
But yeah, obviously, Aaron, man, thanks for coming on. I think a lot of people kind of, are super interested in this, and especially with the last name, with the marriage thing. I think that answered
I know a lot of people asked about that question. To answer people's question, legitimately, I am not changing my last name at this stage. That might change.
It might change. Who knows? Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows?
It doesn't matter.
There's no right or wrong.
I don't know. I am Amy Castano.
Like, I'd love to be Castano, but
I'll take your last
Aaron
name.
Castano.
Aaron
Castano, everyone.
Then we're both AMC.
We're both AMC.
That's
there
true.
You go.
So
and then A squared, which as we are as well.
It's aligned.
That works.
It aligns.
There you go. You heard it here first.
Coming into a relationship like ourselves, there was a spotlight put on you, put on the relationship. How does it all work? How did you sort of cope with that, I guess, attention and investment in other people's opinions on our relationship?
I honestly didn't care, to be honest. Like, people are going to say what they're going to say regardless. People have an opinion regardless anyway. So for me, it wasn't a massive issue. It wasn't a big part that was on my mind, but also Jono and I make a funny story out of it. For example, me and Jono go to events or we're out in public, wherever, and people say, how do you guys know each other? We just look at each other and we're like, let's go. And we got the funniest story. It's probably scripted now. We just look at each other and we're like, so I'm dating his ex-wife, and people just like jaws drop to the ground.
Yes.
And some of the reactions, some of the responses that we get is it's just hilarious.
Do you like the spotlight, Aaron? Because I know a lot of people kind of feel like, people come into relationships because of what the relationship is and in the media and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
For me, I've been in the spotlight with my career anyway.
Okay.
So I'm used to it. So I felt comfortable, let's say, coming back into it here with obviously the two of you being in the spotlight. So it wasn't something I felt like I was coming into unknowingly. I felt like I was coming into it with the understanding of that you don't really have any more privacy, and our, let's say, baggage or our life is going to be broadcasted for everyone to look at and to judge and to react. And that's why I said I just don't really care.
Do you feel like some people want to be in a relationship with you?
Yeah, I'd say so. You know what I mean? There's obviously some relationships that I've been in where I think a lot of people kind of talk in your ear, like, are you sure this person is right for you? Because it kind of looks like from the outside that they're just, obviously with you for that. But hey, like for me, at the end of the day, I kind of wish, to this day now, like I'm like, I kind of wish I remained a little bit more private with everything that I've done, and because once again, it's not an easy thing
It's
being in the
not
spotlight,
easy. No.
especially when things that aren't thing are getting written. And I think for me, that's been hard on my own mental health. And I think I'm
Absolutely.
so glad that I've got a good support network, because it's not a nice thing where you feel like you don't have a voice at times.
Yeah.
But it's
Absolutely.
perspective at the end of the day. Remember,
is.
Jono, there's
It
two
is.
sides to
Of
every
course.
story, and people are always going to have a comment, regardless if
For
you're in
sure.
the spotlight or not. So
100%.
that's the mindset that you've just got to think. Whether
100%.
you are known or not,
Mm.
even your parents, for an example, or your friends are going to have a say or a judgment. It is what it is. Like, who cares?
As long as you remain true to yourself, your values, and the way that you want to lead your life, I think that's important.
That's true. That's why I love you guys so much. But Aaron, thank you for having us.
No worries,
I'm so
bro.
used to
Do that
saying
again.
I'm so used to coming on people's podcasts, man. But not doing my.
Aaron, thank you so much for having
fuck.
us, Aaron,
Thanks
on
so
this
much, man.
podcast.
But thank you, Aaron, for coming on. No Businessman at Castano. I hope you enjoyed your time here, and I hope we answered everyone's questions today.